Well, welcome back to the channel. I'm sorry about the half-term shrieking and yelling from next door, but my number one daughter has some friends over and they're all 13, so the shrieking is part of the deal. Anyway, I thought I'd escape the shrieking by taking this lovely French coffee pot. I don't know, it's old. I bought it at a brocante in northern France, I think about 12 years ago. And I'm going to fill it with foliage. It's a great time of year for foliage. It's the autumn, everything's dying back, there's wonderful colour. And I think sometimes foliage only arrangements are absolutely stunning. So that's my project for this morning. It is, as always, I have a commission to make it, but I thought you might like to join in the process and come along and maybe have a go yourself this weekend. It could be, let's call it a foliage only 30 stem challenge. Right, come on, let's go and have a go. So a very obvious place to start, I think, is this lovely brightly coloured willow, which is just beginning to colour up. I use it a lot in the winter. I make vast amounts of wreaths with it. And in fact, I'm about to cut 400 stems for an order to take to London, so they can make wreaths with it as well. But it also makes lovely bases for floristry. So we're going to have some of that. And still holding its colour well. And look at the size of the leaves now. This is hazel. This is a patch of woodland that we planted when we first came here, and it's about maybe 30, 40 foot across, and it goes all the way round the edge of the fields here. We may be flower farmers, but we also owe a tithe to nature. And so we planted this woodland, and it's just mixed deciduous woodland really, to make a place for invertebrates to live. And it's paid us back 1,000-fold because we have enough. The whole food chain that flourishes here means that all the small people who might invade my plants and really ruin my flowers are kept in check by a fully functioning food chain. There you go. I'll get off my high horse. But you can see, you can imagine, if I turn round here, this is better. Here we are. Here, for example, you can see inside where we pollard the willow every year, there's made a fantastic sort of knotty centre. And in the winter, this willow is covered in and full of aphids, fat, juicy aphids, which you can imagine make a really delicious protein snack for a wren, my favourite bird of all, troglodytes, little tiny bossy little bird with a bossy tail. And the wrens in the winter, if you keep away, obviously, just watch, you see the wrens working these pollard bowls of willow for the aphids. So, you know, we give and we give. We share and share alike. But I'm going to cut some of this lovely hazel now because it's such a lovely fresh green in the winter, and the leaves are nice and big, so they're quite dramatic. It's as though they are going to be my accent flowers, if you like, in my arrangement. When you're cutting, if you're doing foliage, it's really worth having foliage that has handfuls of stems coming off the main stem, because it gives you more interest. If you can imagine, if this was just one long stem, I would only have this part for interest. But because I've got side shoots, it's giving me more weight at the top end. So this is all that goes in the water, but I get much more for my money, if you like, from the top. There you go. At this time of year, the ivy is flowering, and this makes lovely interest in a flower arrangement. As you can see, we have a wall of it. goes all the way to the top of the house. And the bees really love it now. The birds will eat the berries later. And because this wall of ivy is about a foot thick, it's full of birds' nests. We get lots of birds nesting in it. There is, yes, a rose growing out of it as well. Hairy. Now the viburnum opulus has wonderful colour, but I'm not going to cut from here because they flower on fresh growth. So next spring, the big balls of green flowers will come on the top end here. So I will cut some viburnum opulus, but I'll take it from somewhere that I don't harvest so much. This is closer to the house, and so it's easier to harvest from. So I'm going to save this for next spring, but go and have a rave up elsewhere. The glorious colour of the spindle is still going on strongly, so I'm going to have some of that. And then next to it is the lovely black elder, a gorgeous kind of aubergine colour. Very important with elder that you ask it first whether you can cut it. Some people would never speak to me again if they knew I cut elder, but I think so long as you ask it, it's all fine. Please, Mr. Elder Tree, may I have 3 stems? Now, another good shape of leaf is this lime, and I know that the leaves are a bit bashed and battered by the weather and feeling their age rather, but again, it's got a nice structure. If you look here, the stem is long and single stem, and then you get a sort of an activity of interest up here. So even though the leaves are really feeling their age, because of the shape and the shape of the leaf and the design, if you like, of the stem, I'm going to cut some. And equally, here on the other side of the path is the lovely hornbeam, and it may shed in the arrangement, but even if it does, it's interesting and there's lovely lightness and movement to it. So we'll have some of that. Yes, yes, liquid amber. And of course I'm going to have some of this. And the colour of this smoke bush cannot be denied. Now we're back at those poplar, which I was looking at last week. And I'm going to cut some stems of the poplar because in the warmth of the room where these flowers are going to be put, these sticky buds, I'll show you, will warm up in the warmth, and there'll be a little scent of honey, which I hope my client will enjoy, and the rest of the guests in the hotel. If nothing else, at least my hands will smell delicious all day because I've been working with these stems, and the honey scent when you squeeze a poplar bud is delicious. I can't turn this thing off. And last but by no means least, we'll have some oak. Right, I think that is about 10 different varieties, 3 stems of each. So that's a 30 stem challenge cut. And with the oak as well, I have cut it so that I've got a good long stem and then interest at the top. And again, the leaves are going over. It is the autumn, it is towards the end of October, but that's where it's interesting, she says, bossily. I'm just going to show you something very beautiful growing on this gate. Hold on. Little mushrooms. I'm not cutting them, but aren't they sweet? But look, little minute mushrooms. They are, look at my finger for scale. Where is, there? Minute. This is why it's really worth going out and cutting 30 stems, because it means in order to see the interest, you have to get up close and personal with your garden. Otherwise, you don't see stuff. And that's one of the reasons cutting a 30 stem challenge is a good idea. Right, so there's my vase and a load of material, and I'm going to put everything in quite quickly. As usual, the material is spectacularly good. And so I'm not going to argue with it. I'm going to let it do all the work for me. I'm going to strip the stems though, because I don't want the water to get smelly. And I'm going to pop everything in really quite quickly. I haven't really given anything a major bit of conditioning, because these need a tiny little bit of water, but essentially they're going to curl up and fall off. So this is a real ephemeral art, if you like. This arrangement will last a week, but it will not look the same at the end of the week as it does now. It will look much, much more finished, as the autumn will also look more finished in a week. So I'm going to just pop everything in quite quickly. And you'll see. Shall I just let you run? I'll let you run, you can see what I'm doing. I'm sorry, you'll get my back, but it might be interesting for you. Or shall I put, no, enough. I've got to get done. I've got to take this to the to my client. I'm not going to fight with it. She says, fighting with it. The skill, there is a bit of skill here, is to allow the material space, to give it room, so that you see all the different heights and the different shapes. I'm not going to even think about hiding the fact that some of these leaves are tired or going over. That's part of the story I'm telling. I think floristry is always about telling a story, and so I'm going to allow the story to be told quietly as I pop everything into the mix. But you can see I'm really literally just popping in stem by stem. I know that this arrangement is going to go against a wall next to a fireplace, so I am giving it a front face a little bit. I am also, because it's going next to a fireplace, the little feng shui type feel, I have the spout of my coffee pot is going to face into the fireplace, because then, this is rubbish, this is me making it up, okay, but it feels to me that if I have the spout facing into the fireplace, it is facing into the room, and so any good energy, don't laugh, any good energy from this arrangement will be going into the room. If I face it the other way, all the good energy will be pouring into the corner of the room and get lost. I know. But this is how I feel. And you can see, it will be easier for you to see, if I turn the light on, it's going to transform everything. You can see that really we're beginning to have quite a nice, it's just an explosion of colour and shape. I'm taking the occasional little bit of dead material off, but not much. In goes the catinus. And I may, here's some of the wayfaring tree that I was talking about at the beginning, and I said I wasn't going to cut the one near the house. This is the wild version by Burnham Opulus, and I cut it from right up the top end of the field. And you know, the leaves are going, but the colour is interesting and the shape is interesting. It's autumn, it's a story of autumn. And I may take things out and bring them forward, but I may not. We'll see. We'll see. And here is the poplar. And there is the scented poplar bud there. And if I squeeze it, you'll see the sap will pop. That went all over there's the sap on my finger. And it smells really delicious. It's really sticky. And that's what the bees stick the hives together with. And that's why it smells of honey. So we'll have a bit of that in there to give the arrangement some scent. Height. Colour, there's the smoke bush. Ooh. And I'm popping it in the back because this is going on a low table and it will be seen, this arrangement will actually be looked at, although it's got a back to it, it's going against the wall, it's going on a table that's about probably hip height. And so it will be looked at from above. So you need to give it interest at the back as well. Oak for strength. If I were getting married at this time of year, I would have just foliage arrangement. Great big urns of autumn foliage and nothing else if I were getting married. When I did get married in November, many years ago, I had a bouquet. We had no flowers at all, except I did have a bouquet and it was made from the hedgerow. My mum made it and it did have 3 Nerine lilies in it, which a friend gave, so they were bright pink. But other than that, it was blackberries, ivy, catinus. It was just, it looked very like this mix. You see that shape? If I put it right at the back, it's got a good long stem. I'll put it right at the back and it'll be shape in the back. But then here, more oak, this can come out of the front. Now, my lovely arrangement is really filling up now. I'm just making sure that I'm not having, the leaves are not stuck on each other, now holding each other back. Here is the lovely willow with the orange stem. Pop it in the back for height. If you're doing something like this and you can't see the back, it's really worth just putting your hand against the back of the vase or whatever you're putting your material in to make sure that the stem isn't just not going into the mix. Quite often, it's very easy to make arrangements where you find afterwards that the stems haven't actually gone into the vase. Right, I'm not even sure I'm going to use the ivy. Maybe one piece. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. You can do this. You can. I mean, I'm lucky my client has trusts me to supply something that'll be interesting in the space, and with a agreed, subscription price. So it's a nice job because it gives me an opportunity to sort of play with the material that I have and make it work in a way that I think they'll enjoy, but which will also work for me. I'm ruthlessly going to use everything. Look at that. And so remember, almost the first thing we cut was this lovely hazel. And it's a really fresh green. And this arrangement's going against a sort of warm pinky wall. So I think all this colour is going to look really very attractive against the warm pinky wall. But I'm going to put some of this green right at the back so that it stands against that pink. And will really shine. And there, my friends. And there we have a gorgeously coloured, bright, foliage only 30 stem challenge. Right, you're going to do one this weekend and show it to me on your Instagram, tag me, Common Farm Flowers, and then use the hashtag 30 stem challenge. And let's all make a foliage challenge before the last winds of autumn come and blow all the foliage off the trees. Let's do something. I think this will look much, much better without the light on. Oh yes, there you are. Then you get the depth. I hate electric light. You get a better depth of field, of colour. Electric light is very flattening. And if you're thinking about photographing your work, you see I've just pushed this right back to the back because I've got light coming through the window above the basin. So I've pushed this right back, but it's left me with this annoying hole in the middle of this is a piece of furniture that somebody made years ago and I've inherited it and it's very useful. But it does have a hole in the middle. So if I'm going to photograph this, I'm just going to put some of these fallen leaves over the hole. And there we have it. I'll take a photograph for the end. Thanks very much for coming along, everybody. Please do subscribe to the channel, press the bell icon and we'll tell you when we've got more clips coming out. And if any of the tips and tricks I've given you along the way are useful, you can always buy me a coffee. The link for coffee buying is in the blurb to all my clips and really helps support the channel. So even if you haven't got any tips or tricks, because you know it all already, but you'd like to support the channel, then please do buy a coffee. Thanks very much for watching and I'll see you very soon. This weekend, I'm going to be planting out hardy annuals and you can join me if you like. And here in the hotel in fashionable Bruton, this is how it looks. Very good against that pink wall. And there, yes, fashionable Bruton in all its glory. The hotel is a very lovely place called Number One Bruton. I highly recommend it. This is its gorgeous courtyard garden. And while I'm here, I'll remember to pick up my vases.